Hi.
Hey, how are you? I'd love if we did start the podcast really awkwardly, as if we hadn't interacted before. Especially this episode where we recorded stuff back to back. Hey.
Hi.
Welcome back to Plot to Go. Episode number
37. I think.
37. Yeah. God. I'm Jack.
I'm Owen.
And this week we are continuing our Edinburgh Film Festival adventures. That's the film festival ended. Well, it ends tonight for us.
Well, press stuff will end today.
Yeah, well, the films have ended, but we're doing a fun little thing tonight. So we've seen all the movies, and we have 3 more to talk about.
We've seen all of the movies.
Every single one. Yep. Well, what's been your favourite experience? So, when this has been your first film festival, what's been the best experience you've had?
Oh, the In Conversation that we had yesterday.
Yeah.
Nia DaCosta.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, that was very cool. Very well handled. We'd been to 2, and this one felt far more structured.
If anybody's ever been to that sort of thing, I think it can hinge on the person interviewing.
Yeah.
And the guy was really good.
Yeah.
And she was incredible
Great too. I think she had a lot to say. Mm-hmm. Someone that was very comfortable with a microphone.
Someone that's also had a lot of scrutiny on their career, and I think they know how to speak about it. So yeah, nice. Mine was probably a film I might be speaking about today.
That's interesting because I know it's not the one I've seen.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of the one you've seen, shall we start with the first movie we're going to talk about, called In Transit?
Yeah, let's start.
Yeah, let's start. Take it away, Owen.
I'm just going to read the Letterboxd summary.
Go for it. You do you.
This is directed by Jocelyn Bethany. How do you pronounce that name? Jacqueline.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That's not how I view Jacqueline being spelled.
It's not in front of me. I'm going to say.
When a complacent young bartender living in small-town Maine agrees to model for an existentially floundering painter on an artist retreat, both women must confront their preconceptions of what makes a good life.
Interesting.
If I'm being honest, I didn't get much out of this film. I actually quite struggled with it. I found it quite slow, and I genuinely wondered where it was leading, and I don't think it ended where I thought it was going. I was at least interested with like this describes here. We've got this existentially floundering painter. I was interested in the fact that she had said within the film that she was going on this departure of how she paints. She'd ignored the kind of fundamentals growing up or something along those lines. But she decided that her work now was more pretentious and that she was taking a step back. And I thought all the things that she was saying were very interesting. But when you're not someone that necessarily understands what that means and then aren't shown it, it just kind of becomes like this empty statement, which I just found really frustrating. I wanted to learn more about her artwork, and I never quite got to. Yeah.
And it's interesting because she's not necessarily the focus of the film as well.
I know she isn't, but I feel like I was gravitating more towards her, and I wonder if that's also to do with her performance compared to the main actress in the film.
I feel similarly. I think you took the words out of my mouth. I didn't get a lot out of this. I don't like using the word cliche for films because I think that diminishes something. I think if something's done with cliche, it could be done very well. A lot of the films that I like, they retread the same water, but they either do it in a really interesting way or they subvert it or something else. This movie is just really cliched. We start this movie and you are with this young bartender who's like clearly at like a turning point in their life. The bar that they own is going to be sold. She perhaps has the opportunity to buy the bar. The bar was her father's, and there's like a lot of interesting stuff there. And then this mysterious artist comes into her life as like a patron of the bar, and her life kind of twists there. But we never dig into her really as a character all that much. I, oddly enough, was enjoying the first half of this movie. It was more conversational. She gets asked to model for this woman, and there's like an intimacy between the two that's just interesting. The conversations that they're having are somewhat interesting. Kind of what you were saying. But there's a turning point in this movie. Something happens. The nature of their relationship slightly changes, and I just rolled my eyes. I was like, what? Is this where this movie's going? Oh, right, okay. I didn't feel any of the build up to make that turning point feel earned. I don't know if you feel similarly. I'm very curious if you feel like at that moment there felt like their relationship should head in that direction.
Not particularly.
Cool, that makes me feel better. And then after this turning point happens, the nature of all of the characters' relationship changes, and it just goes like, oh, what story beats do we have to hit now that we have done this? And they hit them all, and they don't explore the characters in depth whatsoever. You don't really return back to the artist and like internally look at what's happened and her processing that. You barely process what's happened to the girl, the main girl in this movie, which really sucks because girl from a small town and a big change in her life like this happens, and we're not going to explore that at all. And it's really weird. They sow seeds with her. Is it her husband or her partner?
Let's go with husband.
They sow seeds of like discontent at the fact that she's modelling for this woman already, so that when this change happens between her and the other woman, the husband is already primed to be annoyed and pissed off. And I just knew where everything was going, all the beats it was going to hit, and it felt like it was written. And I know that sounds weird, but for these movies specifically, when it's like independent, smaller, really like character focused, not a lot of locations or anything, and they're really relying on you believing these characters and going on their journey. When you don't believe in their story and it feels written, it just doesn't work, in my opinion. Which sucks. I will say, I thought this was very gorgeous, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason
to see it.
Yeah, I think we got an email about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, this film, it looks really pretty.
Yeah.
And it did.
And it is. It's totally.
Yeah.
The locations are all utilised really wonderfully.
Yeah.
I as far as I didn't like the story, I was like, oh, at least it's pretty to look at.
Yeah.
I think I just found it annoying more than anything because I wanted to like it because I enjoyed the first half, and then I just was so checked out by everything that was happening.
I think I was checked out pretty quickly, if I'm being honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was nothing to like just reel me in, I guess.
You didn't find any of the start, like them kind of not just exploring what their relationship was interesting, like the dynamics between somebody modelling for somebody?
Admittedly, like when it got into, again, it's all the painter stuff that I did find more interesting. So as soon as we got to the studio, yeah, but like all the just kind of like sitting at the bar having a conversation, that does feel cliched to me, and just there was nothing there for me to go like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
I kind of what you were saying. I think there is some shaky acting in it as well that pulled me out a little. Which
I also do think the husband thing of like him being like, you're modeling, like what that. Oh, I feel like I've seen that a million times.
Yes, no, that's the whole thing. Like it felt like movies you've seen before, and they've just taken the plot beats. Yeah. Would you recommend this movie, Owen?
No. Sadly.
Yeah, I also wouldn't. Maybe if you can see it on the big screen, maybe it's like nice to look at. But yeah, I think there's movies that have done this kind of story more interestingly. So yeah, that was In Transit. Fun.
What's next, Jack? I actually don't remember the next two films you have.
Oh. Ooh, get ready. Wicked for Good.
You saw that at the film festival?
Yeah, independent, small indie movie. This girl was there, Ariana Grande. She seems like she's gonna make it.
Yeah, she might do something with her career. Yeah,
it'd be crazy. Voice of an angel. I could tell just by talking. Something's there. Okay, I'm going to talk about a film called Blue Film. This is directed by Elliot Tuttle, not his directorial debut. He made one film prior to this. This movie, very difficult to talk about, because it hinges on you not knowing something that gets revealed like 20 minutes in. So I'm not going to spoil that. I do want to preface this by saying that this is very much a film festival movie, and the likelihood of this actually being released worldwide or even nationally or whatever is super slim. I don't think this movie will get picked up for distribution. It is exploring a subject matter that I don't think a lot of people want to even touch. And I think there's a specific scene in particular that will just prevent this from getting any wide release whatsoever. So, all that to say, if this comes to a film festival near you, or if you have the opportunity to see it, really jump upon it and see it, because I think it will, if you don't enjoy it, it'll at least challenge you, and I think film sometimes is a really interesting medium to challenge yourself. This movie is about a queer cam boy whose name is Aaron Eagle. He's played by Kieran Moore. He basically performs online for money. He cams, but also he goes to visit real life people if they pay him a substantial amount. So at the start of this film, we learn that a man has promised him $50,000 to go spend a night with him. And this is something that he's clearly done before with other people and got money for it, and he's very sexually open to doing things with people. So you enter the movie, even though that premise might be like, the man that you're watching clearly feels very comfortable in doing this. The man who he goes to see, you find him with a black mask over his face, so you actually don't know who this man is, and he invites him into his home, and he begins to film Aaron Eagle, and instead of, he gets him shirtless and whatever, and that, but instead of asking him to perform sexual acts, he instead just starts to question him about his personal life, and then you start to see Aaron Eagle become a little bit more uncomfortable and like, what is this? Why am I here? Like, I would rather do all these sexual acts than actually talk about myself. That's not why I'm here. That's not why I'm being paid to do this. So in an attempt to just stop all this, he proceeds to try and leave. And the man who he's with, they end up speaking, and he takes off his mask, and it's revealed who this person is in relation to Aaron Eagle. And from there, they spend an entire night having conversations and unpacking who this man is to this other man. And they proceed to be a little bit more intimate as time goes on, but the movie is kind of just exploring the relationship of these two men to each other and the ramifications of who they are to each other. It's very difficult to talk about without revealing who that man is, because knowing who that man is will then provide context for where the movie goes and the conversations that they actually have. just note that like I can't even say the trigger warning for this movie because it reveals who this person is. But if you are going to go see it and you know that you might be triggered by certain sexual elements, maybe have a little look into this. It is super small, super intimate. It is literally these two people the entire time having conversations around this house, in different areas of the house, in different levels of intimacy. Both of them are very guarded at the start for different reasons. This mysterious man for who he is, and Aaron Eagle is not his real name. His real name is Alex. Like, it is a persona that he's put on, and his guardedness comes through persona. It comes through him being this sexually explicit queer person. And it very much feels like a mask that he's wearing, and slowly but surely the film aims to strip these two people back and actually figure out who they really are on the inside. It is stuffed full of conversations that are really uncomfortable. Not the most pleasant movie to sit through. But I think that's what's powerful about the movie, is that it really challenges you. It's you are confronted so head on by like the horrors that the pair of them are talking about. And I think it's very interesting that you, like Alex being this main character, he is more blasé and sexually liberal, and he, even though the conversations that they are having I think would disturb and like some people would just leave immediately, I think he himself there's a curiosity to him, and he's not turned away by the perverse nature of their conversations and actually wants to dig into who this man is. I think a lot of the film is challenging you yourself to question whether or not you should give this man grace. Perhaps I think for a lot of the film kind of wants you to, or like tries to test how far you will give this man grace. Mm-hmm. Was really, yeah. So that really is the movie. It is just them floating around this house, and unpacking through conversation. But it's gorgeous, in a horrible way. The movie though, it starts with him doing his like, it's like a Twitch stream, but like for sexual stuff, I guess.
It's probably like OnlyFans.
Like camming, like, but it's like live. He's talking to people.
Right.
So that's happening. So that's the intro to the movie, and then it cuts, and you have the title cards, and the title cards are VHS tapes of a young version of Alex. And at the time, you're like, oh, this is really powerful. They've contrasted where this really sexual person is now and who they were as a child. And maybe there's like a commentary there on like, oh, it's like the loss of innocence. Look where he's at now. And I thought that's where the movie was going to head. But the movie itself, you have these long conversations in this house that are interspliced with VHS tapes of him as a kid again. And they take on a wildly different meaning, knowing what these people are talking about. To the point that like, sometimes the film will like, I think because you are following Alex and he is like more liberal but not forgiving of the person. Like he's just open to hearing this person, and that you suddenly become a little bit more comfortable in hearing this person, even though it's still deeply uncomfortable. And then these like edits of footage get placed in, and it's like a reminder of what they're actually talking about and the subject matter that they're dealing with. And every time it's edited in, it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, I feel awful. I feel horrific. But that's the point of the movie, and it's utilized so well. The editing is truly brilliant, even the way it floats in and out between their conversations. And also there is an edit towards the end that is slightly different to just these conversations and these like interspliced bits that is truly horrifying, that I was like, oh my god, like what are we about to be shown? And it's a fake out, But it's this whole time, this movie just has you so taut. It is this control over tone, which in a very different sense to what we were talking about earlier, with like making you just feel dreadful, but having these pockets of like, like, how do I truly feel about this entire thing? It's like truly, I think, masterful shit. It's look, it's not the easiest one to sit through. It is very heavy. It's not a.
But it is short. Yeah. 82 minutes.
Yes, but when this is like a chamber piece, and it is talking about a subject like this, like listening to that for that length of time, it can be quite like, especially as the film goes on. I do think the topic that it's handling, it could slip into either being too lenient with its characters or being too harsh to the point that you don't want to hear any of the arguments the opposite way. And this film strikes a really nice balance between the two. Like the films are not comfortable to sit through, but that is the point. Like you never get to the point of like, I don't actually want to say you never get to the point of I don't want to watch this anymore, because I think I thought that multiple times. But like, it is the point of the movie, and it never gets too extreme to the point where you're shutting off from it. Like there's still a degree of. It's just so masterful from the way it controls you. It's interesting. The film's also gorgeous. Like it is shot in a little house, but my god, the depth that they get out of these different rooms and stuff, the way it's lit, like. I was truly shocked at the variety of the variety of shots that were used in this movie. Like genuinely, you're like, how was this all in just a single home? The coloring and the lighting specifically are just wonderful. They're telling their own story. They make you feel a certain way as well. It just one of these things that's like, I think sometimes people go on about these movies that are chamber pieces and they're like, oh, did it really have to be a movie? And I'm like, well, I think this utilized the medium of film very well. I really, really enjoyed this. The film ends on a note that perhaps, I don't know, people could read it in different ways, maybe. It gives, I think, a sense of relief to the questions that it raises throughout the movie. And in my view, the film then ends up being like the journey. That's the purpose of the film, is the journey, is to test your trust in this man and what he's saying, and like the leeway that's perhaps given to him. Like, should we be forgiving of him and this kind of stuff? And the film is really, really make you sit with those questions. And I think it ends on a note that is interesting, because then it recontextualizes the way you felt throughout the movie, I think. I think it will pack more of a punch depending on what you were thinking during the movie. I think this film really wants you to engage with it at all points, really listen to what they're saying. I don't want to spoil it.
Please don't. You made me want to go watch it now.
It's really good. The performances as well are some of the best performances I've seen in a while. Specifically, Kieran Moore is wonderful, because it all hinges on him. The way you feel hinges on him, and him being able to talk with this person. I thought it was phenomenal. I don't know how many people will get to see this movie, but I think it would start an interesting conversation, at least. Not an easy movie to watch, but that doesn't mean it's bad. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I thoroughly hated it. And
you'd thoroughly recommend?
Yeah, yes. Just watch yourself on look at the whatever they call it.
Just check for triggers.
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah. What's it called? It's something like, does the dog die or something?
Oh, is that a thing?
It's like a website.
Oh, brilliant!
For checking
I don't think this will be on it. It's very indie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just Yeah, I could suggest another movie that deals with a similar thing, but then that in turn gives away the stuff. I just think you'd know if you. I was gonna say you'd know if you feel uncomfortable. You will feel uncomfortable in this, but if it makes you feel a certain way that you would not enjoy it, maybe don't. But I would recommend this movie.
Cool.
Yay!
Thank you.
Yeah, I would recommend this one. You go watch it. I actually am a little sad that you didn't. Not for this podcast, because I think, well, obviously for this podcast, for everybody else to hear what you would think. But me personally, I would like to actually talk through.
Yeah, there's still time.
Spoilery stuff.
Did we have a screener for this one? No.
No, we don't.
I'm screwed.
You're screwed, Owen. Sorry. Last but not least, let's talk about the last movie that I am going to talk about, called Two Neighbours. This movie, I am bringing up information about.
I genuinely know nothing about this one.
Okay, cool. This is fun. This movie is a movie by, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Ondine Vinau, I think is how you pronounce her name.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry if that's not right. This movie is, as they put it, because I was at the premiere for this movie, they were there, they introduced the movie, they started off with this introduction, super brief, because she was like, I'm really nervous. She said this is where Aesop's Fable meets a 4chan meme. And I almost wish that was included in the film, because I think that is a perfect primer for where this movie goes. The movie actually starts with an introduction that is just the Aesop's Fable. There's a fable, quite a famous fable from Aesop called, I think it's called Jealousy and Greed.
Mm-hmm.
It's about how jealousy and greed are two neighbours, and blah blah blah, it ends up with one of them taking out the other's eye. Look up the fable if you want more context for the fable. But this movie takes, we have Anya Chalotra, who is Yennefer from The Witcher's show, if anybody's seen that. She plays a struggling writer who's kind of like down on her luck. And her dad works for this like mega tech tycoon kind of person, this very wealthy man. And we see his daughter, who's played by Chloe Cherry, who people might know from Euphoria. She's in Euphoria. And we are following these two women who are like not opposites of each other. But basically, this movie follows these two women as these two neighbours as part of Aesop's Fable. But they're also, as the director said, they're taking stereotypes of the 4chan meme, the archetypes of Becky, Stacy, Chad, and Benjamin, who's like the virgin incel. I don't really know the 4chan memes, but these have sept into like just meme culture. Like Becky versus Stacy and a Chad versus the virgin.
Yeah, I don't know what this is.
Do you know those like memes that are like the Chad versus
the
virgin?
That's I'm not associating this shit with my mind, but like I don't know.
So it's that.
Are the names in this film?
Yes, they are.
Right. Okay. So I thought you were like this person's the Chad, because the Chad is normally the But
no. So the character names in this movie are the meme names,
right?
Which is why I think it. People who will clock that, but I think there's a nice introduction that you could have to make sure people knew that that's what they're dealing with. You don't need to enjoy the movie, but anyway. It concocts these memes into a narrative that is strung together by Aesop's greed and jealousy fable. Like, notwithstanding what I actually saw, but that as a premise for a movie, I was like, wow, the creativity to come up with an idea like that is super cool. It feels really innovative to blend internet culture with like traditional narratives and media.
Sure.
Because I don't think that happens all that often. Like exploring the internet in traditional media.
It's so new as well that like I feel like anyone that goes near it has to be like steeped in it to understand what they're doing.
We saw the cast and crew talk after as well.
Yeah.
The crew, the writer and the director specifically, know what they're talking about when it comes to the internet. they're like seeped in it.
Because as soon as you don't, then it becomes an absolute mess.
Sure, yeah, exactly. You need somebody that can understand the internet, but also understands how to bring that idea to like traditional media.
Yeah. So some like young millennial, older Gen Z type.
Who the director was, yeah. Yeah, I like the internet is this like it's rife with so many interesting ideas, and it is cool to see something like this play out in film because I don't think we do all that often, and to tell it compellingly as well. This does end up being these characters do fit these stereotypes, but they don't fit into like purely just a meme. They are like still well-rounded characters, so that's nice. Yeah. It's weird as well because this is also the director spoke about this. Like these people exist in the real world. Like rarely do these people. She said something. What did she say? Like specifically, she said, "I don't see a difference between internet and real life anymore." And I think that was really fascinating because at a point in time you'd be like, these people exist solely on the internet, like, all those stereotypes I just read. But now, because you have kids growing up with the internet, suddenly they're manifesting as real people, like these internet stereotypes. And I thought that was really interesting for her to bring up that point because then this movie really is looking at how internet is bled into our culture, and this film like it's seeking to interrogate them. And I cannot point to any other film that's done something like that. So points for originality. But I do think the extent to which those archetypes are kind of interrogated leaves a little to be desired. The movie follows primarily Becky, who is the writer. I can't remember the actress's name. Anya Chalotra. It mainly follows her. And her stuff is interesting because she is this fish out of water. She's thrust into this world of wealth. The film also takes place over one night. Her dad has invited her to come to a party for the company, and he's like, I really want you to get to know the daughter. And the daughter is played by Chloe Cherry, this like influencer type, like daughter of a rich person, very vapid and vain and that kind of stuff, falls into the stereotype of that character. So they want to look at her, I guess, as an opposition to who this other girl is. We don't often see much of Chloe Cherry though. We do just focus on Anya Chalotra. But what it does, it gets across really nicely how like equally twisted and messed up Becky is, because she is portrayed at the start as like, oh, the innocent down on her luck writer who like can't get off the ground and stuff, and she's judging this other girl for like the way that she conducts herself through her life. And I think at the start of the film you are supposed to be like, oh yeah, like you are right, like this is weird, like you are struggling and people should be rooting for you as well. But the film really, it goes into like how twisted she is, like deep down, like the way that she judges other women and what she desires out of her life and how she would maybe go about getting that. I really liked how uncompromising it was in interrogating her as much as it was interrogating the rest of them. It wasn't like, here's this good innocent person versus everybody else. The movie, that aspect of the movie at least, becomes an interesting conversation on how society values women, what they value in a woman, the pressures placed upon a woman, and how that manifests itself. I think this is part of Aesop's Fable, but the entire premise of this movie materializes itself a little bit into the movie. But there's a genie there, who's played by Ralph Ineson, and he's able to grant people wishes. The company that Anya Chalotra's dad works for is introducing this new foundation called like Grant a Wish, and it is headed by this genie. But I will not say that actually, because that is probably a spoiler. The wishes perhaps aren't face value. You
never are.
They never are. Yeah, exactly. It's very much a genie thing.
Yeah, it's the monkey's paw thing.
Exactly. Great way of putting it, actually. Yeah, I do wish her character was slightly performed a little better. Nothing really to do with Anya Chlotra's acting, but her accent was really, really bad.
What's the accent?
American, but Anya Chlotra is very British.
I see.
She's British in The Witcher, yeah?
She probably is, yeah.
I was just like, I could just hear her British voice, and it was taking me out a little. The film also, so you have all this going on, primarily focusing on the woman. The film also focuses on the Chad versus incel sort of stereotypes, and the film fucking nails the incel in this movie. I think the meme is the virgin, but she has interpreted this as the incel, like the way that the alt-right pipeline kind of shapes these men and the ridiculousness of these men. The character who is I actually want to know his name, Jake Simmons. He is absolutely unbelievable in this movie. His performance is so well done. He's kind of in the backdrop a little as well, because the main focus is on these two women, but he just nails the way that this man would talk, the cadence, the way he speaks down to women, the way that he's like pervasive and jealous of other men talking to women, the way he treats his body, and you get moments just with him by himself, and actually you can kind of, it's sad, but you can see the way that like toxic masculinity has infiltrated these sort of men to feel a certain way, and actually they are not allowed to fully express the breadth of emotions. So yeah, he's wonderful. The other stereotypes, so Chloe Cherry's character Stacey and Chad, they're not really explored that much. That might be the point of the movie. Like, the film hinges on the woman being polar opposites. So if you're understanding one, you're understanding the other, in a way. However, I do think it's a little dissatisfying when it comes specifically to exploring the woman, because I mean the film's called Two Neighbours, and the whole back part of the movie hinges on the two of them, and you only really know the one.
Right.
And I think it doesn't quite pack the punch that the film maybe wants it to land on, because you don't know both of them. The writing does become a little annoying as well, because the film has fashioned itself with such interesting ideas, and you want it to go in depth and really explore, but maybe like 2/3 of this movie, maybe a little more, is spent at this night, at this party, and some of the conversations that are had and some of the things that are happening are interesting. Others are just kind of like trotting along, and you're like, oh, but you've got such an interesting idea, like poke and prod at it more. And then the final less than 1/3 of the movie is just its own thing, and it becomes, I don't know, it becomes a little uneven, like pacing wise. And then at the end they were talking about the movie, and they were like, this originally started as a long short. I think it would have been really interesting to see what that would have ended up being like, instead of expanding it into a feature film. I do think as well, not to spoil this movie, but when the film is so interesting and twisted throughout, when it's so interesting at mixing this fable and internet culture throughout the movie, it ends up landing on something that isn't really that twisted or creative. It's actually probably what you expect to happen, especially if you know Aesop's fable, which is really weird because the rest of the movie is so like filled with interesting stuff. And saying all that though, this is an incredible achievement in directing, like beyond it. It's so well directed. The writing is what falters a little, but my god, hearing the woman talk after as well, like I was just like, yeah, fuck, give you
Oh, did you have
money.
Q&A after
Yeah.
the... Right.
Like she has a clear vision, and it comes through in the movie so much. It's gorgeous. Like, the film is gorgeous. It's shot at this manor, which I wish you'd seen it. I think it's the manor that the Rogue episode of Doctor Who was shot at.
Nice.
I hope you're proud of me. Which there's a moment I went, oh, like, it went to cut to a wide, and I was like, oh, okay. But you could tell that there was like heaps and heaps of passion put into this, like really well and truly. It feels like you're watching like somebody who has made stuff for a while, not a debut. Like, it feels so well realized. Also, as well, it is not like your typical wealth movie that I feel like we get all the time. That really is beginning to frustrate me, where they're like, look how evil the rich people are. That's the commentary. This goes in a slightly different direction, even if I didn't love where it ends up.
Yeah.
Just really interesting movie. And I hope it encourages people to be like, hey, maybe the internet is an interesting place to get ideas from and put that onto film. So yeah, I would recommend this. I think people will like this to varying degrees.
It looks like people like it to varying degrees.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The graph is like, ooh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I could see a lot of people's different opinions on this, but as a debut, this is, yeah, really cool.
Strong.
Yep.
Awesome.
Wow. We also don't have a question this week because silly.
Why don't I just think one up?
You want to ask me? Can I just ask you a question? I feel like I had chatted.
You asked me a question at the start of this episode, I think.
Did I? What did I ask you?
What's my favourite part of the festival been so far?
Okay.
What is your favourite aspect of any festival that you've been to?
Oh.
Because you've been to a few.
Yeah. Been to London, Edinburgh, Venice. And that's it.
That's
Glasgow. And also, we went to the one in Madrid for like a day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a festival.
That's the bougiest festival I've been to.
Yeah, my god, the place we saw the movie in, I think it's called the Palace de Madrid.
I do believe we were in a palace for a
yes,
film.
truly. Crazy. I don't know. Being around it, just like the environment, like the atmosphere, I think it's always nice. People hearing reactions. The times I have spoken to people, for some reason I feel like Edinburgh's people are like quite closed off compared to the other festivals I've been to.
It is just quiet as well.
Yeah. I don't know, it's like you're still in packed rooms. It feels like people go with people and they're less wanting to like talk. Whereas in other festivals I've had more of an experience of chatting with people, and that's been awesome. So like, as a boring answer, the people in the movies, like,
Yep,
and
cop
the
out.
atmosphere. So
No, that's
also
so
getting
fair.
to see stuff early and then being like, haha, you should watch this. Yeah. Also, Ralph Ineson was sitting behind me for 2 Neighbours. I've told you this, but like,
Yeah.
wow, he has a distinctive voice. I literally messaged Owen. Owen was like in bed ill, and I was like, Galactus is behind me. Anyway, thanks so much for listening and hopefully enjoying this episode of Plot to Go, episode number 37.
You can find us on.
No, I've just been chatting. YouTube,
No, it's fine. And
Spotify,
and
Apple Podcasts,
and
Instagram,
and
TikTok. It's too slow,
Instagram,
Owen.
TikTok.
Yeah. This is the end of our batch filming. So next week, we will just be talking about what me and Owen have seen from like mid-August to like early September.
Is that what we're doing, are we?
There's a whole bunch of movies. I don't know. It just depends on what we end up seeing, because we're both, as we said like a few episodes ago, we're both really busy.
Yeah.
Just over the next few weeks. So I don't know. I imagine the main movie will be The Roses. I imagine.
That's the main one.
Well, I don't know. Or the Darren Aronofsky. There's a Darren Aronofsky movie coming out called Stealing. That also might be it.
Right.
Also, we've got The Long Walk as well, which is getting like a lot of advertisement for some reason. But it's by your favourite director, Mr. Oh wait, no, he didn't do the first Hunger Games. Never mind. He did everything but the first.
Oh, if you did the second one, then
Yeah.
unreal.
We're gonna review the Hunger Games instead. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.